Everybody wants a blast of magic, 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 magic. Look up the magic in me.
Huh? What? Oh, hello, good evening, and welcome to Magician 101, the show for all magicians. I'm your host, Jerry Wrinkle-Noggin. You may know my older brother, Terry, from Magic Geek's Geek Report. Remember, the Geek Report's #1. Okay, our top story tonight. I answer your burning magic questions, but first, are kids shows really the horror-filled terror fest most people make them out to be? Bob recently did a kids show over the weekend, and he had this to say about doing the kids show. The show went off without a hitch. It went really, really well. The kids and the adults enjoyed themselves. I haven't done a kids show in a couple months, but it's just like riding a bike. You never forget how to do it. I'm more of a tricycle man myself, but that's just me. And Bob also says you should definitely go out and do kids show birthday performing. It's a lot of fun. All right, and now on to our top story where I answer your burning magic questions. And Bob wants me to remind you to post your questions down below. He'll be back next week and he will give them an answer. All right. And Bob also told me the answers to these questions this week because I know nothing about magic. I do reporting, not performing. All right, our first question comes from Taylor Lunsford Magic, and it says, how much do you charge for a kids show? Well, Taylor, I just mentioned I don't perform, but Bob charges $50 per hour for his close-up shows. Street magic, he collects tips. Restaurant magic, he works with the client to find a reasonable price. And $150 for his stage show and birthday shows. This question comes from Brendan Shepard, and Brendan Shepard has to say, what is the Dan Sperry trick called? And the Dan Sperry trick that he's referring to is the one where you eat the razor blades inside of the Oreo cookie, and it's called Cookie Cutter. And we have another Brendan Shepard. It's Brendan Shepard Studios, Inc. I don't know why Brendan Shepard is such a popular name on YouTube, but apparently it is. And he says, what is a good way to advertise yourself? All right, Brendan, well, Bob has told me some really good ways to advertise, and he has this to say. Bob says that the best way to advertise yourself is to find a community bulletin board. You will find those mostly in your local supermarkets or banks or Starbucks or something like that. Or community rec centers, and you can put up flyers and business cards up on those community bulletin boards. That's a great way to advertise yourself and get out there. And Bob says the best idea is not to post business cards up there, but post flyers that have the little pulley-rippy tabs on them. Those little pulley-rippy tabs, people can tear off the tabs, the perforated tabs, take the tabs, and you don't have to replenish that flyer as much as you would with a business card. Bob also says look on Facebook, type in your city, and see if there's any pages that advertise events in your city on Facebook or on Twitter, and advertise yourself that way by saying, I'm a magician, I do birthday parties, or whatever you do, Brendan, for your magic. And some other great ways to advertise yourself is pass out flyers in your neighborhood. If you have a lot of kids in your neighborhood, drop flyers in the mailboxes. Make sure you drop the flyers off, though, after the mailman comes, because the mailman does not like you dropping flyers in the mail unless you are Jerry Wrinkle-Noggin. All right. And now our final question comes from Jay Brothwick. He has lots of questions this week, but first he says he'll be buying Zigzag Rocky, thanks to Bob's review of it last week. But Jay says, how do you start a kids show? What trick do you use to start with? Would you slip in tricks for adults? And how many tricks do you do during a kids show? Okay. Bob is very cool. Bob loved answering this question this week. It's one of his favorite questions to answer. And Jay, he says, first, how do you start a kids show? Well, the first thing Bob usually starts off with, he starts off with 3 things. He first starts off with the very cheesy magic trick where you take your hands, you put them down, you lock them, and you try to get your fingers pointing this way without unlocking your hands. He does that and makes the adults do it, the kids do it, and everybody in the room do it. Then he starts off with a change bag routine where he pulls out a big gigantic silk that says the end on it. And when he pulls this out, he says, that's the end of my show, thanks for watching, and then he says, no, it's only the beginning. And then he starts off with a sponge ball trick where he makes the sponge balls disappear, and then you have a big final load of sponge balls that go plump and they plop out. Alright, and he says, would you slip in tricks for adults? Bob does slip in tricks for adults. He makes sure to slip in a couple tricks for the adults. He does the nest of boxes, which you probably see on his YouTube channel. He hands the box off to an adult and makes the adult hold on to it throughout the entire show. He also slips in some card tricks for adults. You can watch one of his 365-day magic challenges for this week, where he did the Wizard's Assistant live, and you can see it as an adult in that trick. And that was filmed at Bob's Kids Show over the weekend. Okay, now Terry Wrinkle-Noggin, my name's Jerry Wrinkle-Noggin. I need to put my reading glasses on here because I have one more question that we have to answer. Oh, and Jay, I'm sorry, and how many tricks does Bob do in a kid's show? It varies depending on the crowd. If the crowd is getting really, really antsy and they don't look like they want to watch an entire hour magic show, Bob will cut his show down to about 45 minutes. Okay, Jerry's got to put on his reading glasses because he doesn't have one question written down here, so give me just one moment. And it says, Mr. Tadpole221 says, can you review the counterfeit detector, which Bob has on his Magic Shop set right up here. And Bob does have this script for me to read about the counterfeit detector, and he says, the counterfeit detector is a really great trick where you take a dollar bill or any kind of bill and you shred it in this counterfeit detector. The people can see it getting shredded. Now, Bob says that is all the trick does. It just shreds the bill, what they think shreds the bill. Then you take the bill and you make it reappear somewhere else, inside of a nest of boxes, or you make it reappear under somebody's chair, or something like that. It's not just to be a solo trick. You do one trick, you can make the bill vanish. Bob usually does the perfect penetration with the counterfeit detector. He'll poke the pen through the bill, put it through the counterfeit detector, and then make it appear in the nest of boxes. And if you type in counterfeit detector on Bob's YouTube channel, you can see the 3 videos in a row that he posted where he did the perfect penetration, then the counterfeit detector, then the nest of boxes. Alright, thank you so much for watching this week's Magician 101. I'm Jerry Wrinkle-Noggin. Thank you for letting me be your special guest star for this week here on Magician 101, the show for all magicians. Bob will be back next week to answer all of your burning magic questions. Make sure to leave your questions down below for Bob so we can answer them next week. Magician 101, we will see you next time.